Hey guys, thanks for joining us today on this webinar of how I wrote 45 households in 30 days. I want to definitely respect your time, so we're going to jump right into the presentation here. There is some options to do some questions and chats and things like that, and at the end of this, we will stay on area to be able to take any questions or chats or things like that that you might have. So, but want to jump right in for you here. So. Here we go. So again, we're gonna go through, how I wrote 45 households in 30 days. And this was while I was working with State Farm, and so I was captive agent on that side. So before any of you guys think, hey, you had the advantage of independent or anything like that, there's advantages and disadvantages to every side. This is definitely possible on either side, captive or independent. All right, so how this webinar can help you. Sorry, wrong button there. How this webinar can help. What we're going to cover on this webinar, we're going to cover the daily activities I used to write 45 households in 30 days, the marketing that I went through to fill that pipeline up to have enough prospects to speak with, to have the capability of writing 45 households in 30 days, how I kept referral partnerships rolling and growing during this time to keep those leads coming in, because as many of you know, writing 45 policies in a month is a task in and of itself. So how do you keep those pipelines going so the next month you have the ability to repeat that? And then how I implemented these strategies agency-wide with all of my sales team members. So a little bit about me before we dive in. When I started in the insurance world, I had zero sales experience. I didn't come into the insurance world from a background of having done telesales or car sales or solar sales or anything else. I entered in with zero sales knowledge, zero sales experience at all. I didn't know how to sell, but I entered in at a time where the industry that I was in was downsizing at the time, and I was left out in the cold as part of some downsizing with companies, and there weren't any jobs in my current industry available. So I made the jump over to insurance after thinking about it for a little bit. But I also had a child at home, a house that me and my wife had bought at the time, things like that. And so I didn't have months or years that I could spend trying to figure out how to sell before reaching out to leads. I didn't have the ability to sit back and go through, a bunch of training programs first, or mentoring, or falling on my face first. Like I had to just get going. I also didn't have the ability to wait for leads to come to me. I couldn't wait for my neighbor's best friend's insurance to come up for renewal. I had to find somebody that I could sell today. The other thing I didn't do is I didn't try to be the best in the world. I accepted that I was new. I accepted where my abilities were, and I accepted what those results were going to get for me. So I didn't try to be the best in the world out the gate. What I did have was I understood that it was going to take a willingness to fail, and I had that willingness to fail. I knew that there were going to be calls I was going to fall flat on my face during. There were going to be things I stumbled over. There were going to be people that I didn't connect with that I maybe could have with more practice, those kind of things. It did take me working beyond 5 p.m. This was not an 8 to 5 kind of month. There were days that I had to stay till 7:30 at night making calls or getting my activities done, those kind of things. The commitment was to see how far can I push this, not can I get home by 5. It did take a willingness to learn, and it took a lot of humility. It took a lot of ability for me to be able to say, I don't know what I'm doing, and I need to learn what I'm doing along the way, and I need to always be open to getting better. And then ultimately what this all did bring was success. In 2016, you can see from the picture there, I won top team member of the year, a little less, or about 2 years in to my insurance career. And you can see there based on the picture that it was for overall production, raw new auto production, life policies, and vehicle loans. You can see the only category there that was missed that I could have potentially got was fire policies. And honestly, the reason I didn't get the fire policies on top of that was because I didn't write renters, which is considered a fire policy. I just didn't write renters. If you were wanting an auto and renters, I would write it if it's something that you needed. But if I'm bundling together, I didn't write renters just to get a $10 discount on the auto. Instead, I would bundle life with auto most of the time. And that was just my approach. And so, people who bundled auto with renters ended up with more fire policies than me. And I could live with that because overall, still got top team member of the year in 2016. And the way I got to that point was I prepared. I always knew I was capable of more. I was capable of more than the day I started. And even in 2017, after winning Team Member of the Year in 2016, I knew I'd only begun to scratch the surface on what was possible. And I also knew that I had a team around me at that point. We had two offices, a MOA office, which is a second office, and then our main office. And we were starting to grow a sales team, hire team members, those kind of things. At the beginning of 2017, we had 5 salespeople. By the end of it, we had 15 in the office. And so I knew that I wanted them to be able to duplicate my success too. So what I did was I set out at the beginning of 2017 to find a way to track my activities and which activities led to results that could be repeated. Because if I could have a layout of what activities led to results, I knew that we could repeat those results. And by doing this, found holes actually in the activities I was doing and ways to maximize those days. And as I started to plug those, the results kept increasing. After tracking my activities and being able to give credit to which activities gained which results, I set out to have my team under me duplicate the process. By the last quarter of 2017, each team member was producing an average 25 households a month by themselves. And actually most of these team members had never been in sales before working for us either. I actually preferred to hire people with no sales background because as I started to track these activities, and if you do ABC, you get XYZ kind of results, I actually preferred to pull people in with no sales experience so they didn't come in with any preconceived notions. They would jump in and do exactly what the activities of them that were asked. The foundation that I started with building all of my activities out and kind of looking at where I'm going to approach this from was I started with the assumption that sales equals activities that lead to contacts that lead to conversations. If I'm doing activities that are going to produce me on the phone with somebody or me sitting across the desk from somebody that are going to result in meaningful conversations about their insurance and their needs, those are going to result in sales. That's the assumption that I built everything on top of. That was my foundational piece. And then after I started with that foundation, I did the math for myself. Before really looking at any activities I could do, I knew what my closing rates were and how many quotes leads I needed. I structured my activities around that math. I spent some time looking at what my current results were so that I could structure my activities around that. Now, not every lead is created equally. So you need to do the math on each kind of lead, internet lead, referral, event leads, call-ins, whatever the lead source is that you get, they're not going to be created equally. So you need to know the math on each one so you know where to spend your time with the activities. So for example, just easy math, I threw some percentages in here. If your closing percentage is 10% on every quote and your contact rate is 50% on all the leads that come in, then to write 20 households a month, you need to quote 200 people, which means you need to talk to 400. Have 400 leads, 50% of them you're able to have a conversation with. That means you talk to 200, and 10% of them you're able to quote and close. That means you get 20 households. So being able to backtrack the math like that, knowing that gives you control. Now, obviously, like I said, not all lead sources are created equal. If referrals get you the highest closing percentage, that's great, but you don't have control over referral either. And so to build an entire agency saying, I get 50% of my referrals that come in, I close, that's great. But if somebody's sending you 30, if you have a loan officer sending you 30 leads a month, and all of a sudden that loan officer is out of the business, you just lost 30 leads a month that you're gonna have to find a replacement for. So you want to do this with every type of lead that you have, and you want to have multiple types of leads coming in so that you can turn flows up and down as needed. So what were the activities that I did? I looked at what can I do to structure my day that I can repeat every single day. So these were the activities that I personally did every day or week that I made sure were completed before I went home. I made 150 outbound phone calls a day. Now, notice I didn't say I called 150 leads a day. No, I made 150 outbound calls a day. So the reality is some leads, you know, you need to call 2, 3, 4, 5 times before lead source. So if I had, you know, a list of 50 internet leads that were coming in, I may call them twice a day, and that's 100 outbound calls right there. And so I would try to know that I have this many referrals that I need to get a hold of. I have this many internet leads. I have this many follow-ups. I have this many X dates, all of those kind of things. And I can structure out so that I'm making 150 outbound calls a day. And again, that may sound like a lot. It really isn't. I did the math, or I timed it to go from dialing the phone to voicemail to leaving the voicemail and hanging up. It takes on average 45 seconds, which actually, with of all 150 end in a voicemail, that only breaks out to be 1.8 hours of your day. So about an hour and 45 minutes of your day are spent if they're all on voicemail, which means you have 6 hours and 15 minutes of a regular work day, regular 8-hour work day, to still spend doing other things. And so there are plenty of time in the day to make that many phone calls. The other thing I did is I sent an email to every single call I left a voicemail. If I left them a voicemail, they also got an email from me. And every day it was a different email from me. So all 150 that day may get the same email, but they're not getting that same email tomorrow. And so they got an email from me every day. I quotes leads that have been called for 15 days or more without an answer. So I didn't blindly email a quote over after day 2. I waited for 15 days, so I knew for sure the likelihood of getting this person on the phone now is very, very small percentage. I'll go ahead and shoot them over a quote because I didn't want to lose them over $10, $20 a month, because I knew if I could talk to them, I could sell that value of $10, $20 a month. I sent 5 messages to contacts daily on Facebook and LinkedIn. My personal contacts, inviting them into insurance reviews, just asking them how life was going, seeing if there was anything I could do for them. But I sent out 5 messages a day on Facebook and 5 messages a day on LinkedIn. Every day, every single day, I reached out to 5 loan officers for coffee. Sometimes that was, you know, hey, I'd met somebody and they gave me a business card, and so I'd give them a call. Sometimes that was on Facebook. I'd find them, I'd search for loan officers and just send them a blind message. Some days that was emails to them. Whatever I could do to connect, to ask them to coffee. My goal every day was to get one of those 5 to say, yeah, let's grab coffee next week. So the following week, I would have coffee with 5 different loan officers, one from each day, on every single day that I could connect with to talk to about referral sources. I every single Thursday visited car sales lots. I picked a section where there were 12 lots, kind of all within a one road there. And I would visit every single one of them every single week. Now, as time went on, I found the ones that were more beneficial to me. And at the end, you know, towards the end, I was only visiting 6 or 7 of them every single week because those are the ones that were beneficial to me. Every Wednesday, I dropped off bagels at the office and coffee for the loan officer that I met, and I got their favorite kind of coffee that I had learned when we met for coffee initially. So I wasn't going to every loan office that I have every week. I was dividing it up to going to them once a week. So, you know, as I got more and more, that may mean every week I'm going to 2 or 3, but I'm just dropping bagels off for their team because I know that their team is valued, and the loan officer gets all the credit, but it's actually the team that's the one sending out all the documents and doing that kind of thing for the most part. So I would do that every Wednesday. What these activities led to, I took the time to make sure my day was being spent on the most productive things. So I looked at what are my most productive lead sources, what are second and third, and I prioritized them in the best possible way that I could come up with. And what this led to for me was I was at the end of the day, I was getting 45 referrals a month from loan officers, 50 to 60 referrals a month from car dealerships, 150 leads a month from online sources. For our agency, we used Facebook and Facebook marketing and ads because we could, of just the targeting that we could get there. That's what worked best for us. I know there's a million different lead options out there for the internet. For us, Facebook worked the best. And ultimately, it led to 5 households written in 30 days. Beyond doing those activities, the other thing that I did every single day, that's huge, is I practiced. I practiced and practiced and practiced. You can't expect to walk court and win a championship without having spent time in the gym practicing. That's just the reality. So just as much time dissecting the process, my closing skills, my hangups as I possibly could. It wasn't so that I could be the best in the industry, but it was so that the next call that I made was better than my last one. If all I made got a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, then eventually I was going to have the experience that I did to say that I made some huge strides in being better at my craft. So I would write down every objection I was ever given. Somebody told me, no, not now, I need to think about it, anything like that. I wrote down, I had a little pad of paper next to my phone, and I would jot down the no and why. I never let somebody just know and say, okay, well, I'll give you a call back in a month. No, it was no, oh, okay, just out of curiosity, what's holding you up now? And I would write down that objection so that I could learn to get over those objections and go past them. I role played every morning before I started with my team. I spent the first 10 minutes of my day going through the objections that I had heard the day before and role playing those with my team so that they would become second nature when I heard it on the phone. I learned who my perfect client was and why they were my perfect client from a personality level, not just from a, oh, my perfect client is a homeowner with with 2 cars and 2 kids and makes $100,000 a year. That's great. That's everybody's perfect client. But what I found out was who's the client that if I get them on the phone, I can relate on a personality level, we can connect, and we can have that rapport built. I signed up for webinars and courses to learn as much as I possibly could to make sure I was always moving forward with what I could do. Then after I got my process in, I had reached 45 households in a month by throwing through those activities, by practicing daily, by writing down my objections. I then wanted to repeat the process to my sales team. I wanted it to be something that they could come in, their activities they had to get done for the day, and that they could close out, and that they were going to get continued results as those were coming in. So every day, like I said, we role played in the morning with our team. I would have them keep track of who it was they closed, and once a month we would go over, okay, you closed these households, what was the commonalities with those, so we could find who the customer was. And so after these activities, we wanted to implement them with the team. So again, I required my team to make 150 calls daily. I pulled the call logs every morning from the day before to make sure that they had. That was just from a management standpoint what was needed. And if they didn't make their 150 calls, we found out why they didn't make their 150 calls and what we could adjust for them to be able to hit 150 calls. They were required to email every lead that they left a voicemail for. They visited 3 car lots weekly. So instead of having them pick a whole big car lot, I didn't want them out of the office a huge amount. So they take 3 hours a week. They visited 3 different car lots and got to know the sales staff there. They visited 1 loan officer weekly. They also needed to try to connect with 3 to 4 a week and visit 1 a week. So, 1 new loan officer. So they'd visit 1 loan officer weekly that they've already established referrals just to keep those going. They would try to connect with 3 to 4 a week to try to set up 1 coffee to get another referral loan officer coming in. They also were required to send out 15 messages a week to their contacts in circle on Facebook or Instagram. Most of my sales staff either didn't have a LinkedIn or it was a very small LinkedIn. So for the most part, it wasn't a big deal for them to send messages on LinkedIn. So we would do Facebook or Instagram with them. They had to send out 15 messages a week. They could send those, all 15 on Monday if they wanted, and then just kind of reap their rewards throughout the week, or they could send a couple a day, however they want to do it, but they had to get 15 out in the week. This led to my entire team, they were averaging 25 households a month each. And by households, I mean, wasn't 25 autos that they wrote. It was 25 households. So multi-line opportunities. We actually didn't count single line auto as part of their numbers. If they didn't get something else bundled with it, it wasn't considered a household. It was just considered a policy. But they wrote 25 households a month each. So we've gone through all the activities. That's what we did, laid out. But if I'm being honest with you guys, it wasn't perfect or easy. There were pitfalls we were into. There were adjustments we had to make along the way. There were things that we experienced that definitely got in the way of what we were doing. The biggest issue that I ran into that stood out the biggest with being able to complete these activities was having enough people to talk to. having enough people on that list to get 150 calls in a day. And then as we rolled that out to the team, it became even more so to have big enough lists for everybody to be able to make 150 calls a day, if that's what we're requiring, was a huge deal. Ultimately, these lists became a combination of new leads, various sources, referral, internet, mailers, all kinds of stuff. Win back list, previously quoted prospects, and we had done the math on every single one of them to know where it fell and what should be the heavier called versus these are the ones that, hey, we're just trying to find who might be interested today, but we're not expecting answers. We just want to stay in front of them. So because of the need for volume to have enough call, when it came to marketing and lead generation, these are kind of some of the things that for our agency we experienced. One, Facebook became essential to us. Like I mentioned before, we found that was the best marketing online that we could do for our agency and what we were able to get from a targeting standpoint and quality standpoint. And so due to the targeting that was there, it let us really be able to hone in on names and numbers of people that were a good quality lead for us if we got them on the phone versus, buying a data list from somebody just to have a list to call of somebody who may or may not be interested. So Facebook became essential for us in marketing. And we did everything from run our own Facebook campaigns in-house to we actually hired out to certain other companies to run campaigns for us. So wherever that fits for you guys, it did become essential for our agency. When it came to we only focused on high producing partners. We wouldn't mess around with a loan officer who did less than 15 loans a month. It's great if somebody's starting out, they're in their first year of being a loan officer and they're doing 10 loans a month, like that's great for them. But it just wasn't a big enough loan officer for us to mess around with. It wasn't worth our time. We needed to be spending time with high producing loan officers that were going to get us enough opportunities to be able to complete the activities we need to complete as an office. We didn't visit car lots that didn't move over 200 cars a month or commit to every single sale being referred to us as a second option for their current insurance. So if they wasn't one of those two things, we didn't mess around with that car lot. When we got somebody on the phone, I trained my sales team to not just keep getting put off to, oh, call me back tomorrow, or I'm still thinking about it, or I'm this, but train them to get a yes or a no. That even a no, when you're talking activities wise, is a positive, because now I can cross them off the list and I don't have to mess around and chase them anymore. I know they're off. I don't have to waste time. I'm going to go to the next person and find the next sale. And I'm going to X date them out. I'll follow up with them in, months, 6 months, whatever it may be. But I wanted a yes or no every time I got somebody on the phone. So that's how we laid it out. Now I want to give you guys some practical action steps that you can do over the next 30 days to start rolling towards 45 households a month. Before we jump into the 30-day challenge though, there's a couple things you really need to look at for yourself and for your agency. One, you need to do the math. On every lead source you have coming in, what are your close rates? What are your volume rates? What are your contact rates? And you need to know what that is so that you can set the right activity to the right place for those. In addition to that, you need to know who your perfect client is. The way that I suggest looking at your perfect client, because you want to know beyond, it's a homeowner, like I said before, a home with 2 cars and 2 kids and $100,000 a year income. Like you want to know deeper than that. So in addition to those kind of things, you want to know, I suggest looking at who are the last 20 people that you sold. Just look over your list in your system. The last 20 people you sold, write their names down. What did they have in common? Did they all fit into a certain age demographic? What were their family demographics? Were they all married with 2 kids? What were their jobs and careers? Were they all, a 1-income house, a 2-income house? Were the majority of them teachers or doctors or, whatever. But look at that. Find what do these leads have in common so that you can hone in on that. And then what did you connect with them on? So, did you connect? Were you able to connect with them on the fact that they had kids that were around the same age as your kids? Were they the same age as you? Did they have, maybe a same college experiences or high school experiences or whatever the case may be? What did you connect with them on when you were building that rapport with them, talking to them? And then what value did they buy? And value is never going to be price. So don't say, oh, we were just cheaper. Doesn't matter, because you can always go on Google and find somebody cheaper. That's just the reality. I don't care if it's a call center type insurance system like a Geico, if they bought it online, if we're with Farmer, State Farm, also, or if it's an independent person that they bought it from. All these carriers offer the same product at different price points. So you can always find one that's cheaper. And the reality is you don't control the price. Even if you're an independent agent, you have multiple people to shop from, you're still contingent on the price all of those independent companies are giving you. You don't control the price, the companies control the price. What you do control is the value that you offer in addition to the price. And so what is it the value that they connected with you on and they bought ultimately? And then write down your agency's value statement. So my agency exists to finish that statement. What is the value that your agency brings to the table that is unique to your agency? And then once you have all those things written down, here is the 30-day challenge. These are the activities that every day for 30 days do, and I promise you, you will see increases in what you're writing, and you'll start rolling towards 45 households a month. So make 150 outbound calls a day. If you don't have a list big enough that you can make 150 outbound calls a day, then you need to look at what are some options there that I have. Do I need to buy some leads from somebody? Do I need to go out and market to referral sources? Do I need to send more mailers out? Whatever it is, get to the point where you can make 150 outbound calls a day. If you say, hey, I only got 50 people that I can call, awesome. Call them all 2-3 times a day. Get as many calls in as you can, but get to the point as quick as you can to where you have 150 calls that you can make a day. And then again, notice I didn't say make 150 calls to 150 leads a day. I said make 150 outbound. So if you have a list of 75 people, call them all twice. There's your 150 outbound, and you'll be able to really quickly start weeding people in and out of where they're at in the sales process the more you reach out to them. So the goal is to have 150 leads to call. The goal is to have 150 outbound calls you can make. Send 5 messages daily to contacts on Facebook or LinkedIn. If you don't have a big LinkedIn following or you really haven't done anything with that, then you could go to Instagram, or you could do all 5, maybe do 10 on Facebook, but get 5 messages out daily on 2 platforms or 10 on 1. And it could be anything from offering an insurance review to offering a quote to just checking in and saying, hey, I just wanted to see how you and your family are doing. But reach out, connect with 10 people total, 5 on each platform or 10 on 1 if you don't have multiple platforms that you can. Reach out to 3 loan officers a day and invite them to coffee, whether that's giving them a call because you have their number and business card, or emailing them, or whether that's you have to go on Facebook or LinkedIn and search loan officer in my state and you send a message on there. But invite 3 loan officers a day to coffee. Pick 3 or more car lots to go to and visit them weekly. Meet the sales staff. This is one of the things that I see a lot of agents miss out on when they go to car sales lots and they want referrals, is they don't take the time to meet the staff. They try to get in and go straight to the sales manager or the big boss. The reality is the sales manager and the big boss, they don't touch every client. Who does touch every client? The sales staff. If you can get a relationship rapport going with the sales staff, they're the ones talking to them, walking them around, asking them, to get their current insurance information, all those kind of things. They're the ones that can push you. They're the ones that can say, hey, can I have my guy call you tomorrow with a second opinion when you go to change your insurance over with your current company? Just so you have some options, because your insurance rates are definitely going to change with a new car. So that way you just kind of know. And the reality is they're hungry. So if you can do something, anything from, depending on states, rebating and, gift card laws are, you can do everything from offering like a gift card for every, to the salesman for every quote they send over, a $10 gift card if that's allowed in your state. Or you can totally do something like, hey, if I get 100 referrals from you guys this month, I'm going to buy lunch for the entire staff. Or if I get 20 this weekend, we would do that a lot of times on big sales holidays, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July. When these car lots have these giant sales events, we'd go in a couple days before and tell the sales staff, hey, if we get 20 leads from you this weekend on this holiday sale that you're going for, we're going to come in on Monday and buy the entire staff pizza. Things like that. Give them, they're hungry. They want something. And then do 10 quotes a day and send them out. Now, I would suggest only sending quotes out blindly to people that you've called consistently for 15 plus days, because you don't want to lose somebody when they see the quote and they're like, oh, I'm paying $10 less than that a month, I don't need to talk to them. When the reality is you should be able to sell them $10 more a month. That's part of this. We can't play that price game. We're selling value. So the value that your agency has to offer, is that worth $10 a month? Yes, it is. So you can make up those differences. So I don't like to send blind quotes out unless it's a last resort like that. So I know I've called them every day for 15 days. They're not answering. I'm going to send this out and see if I can spark an interest. So that's the 30-day challenge for you guys, to start getting you rolling there. I guarantee if you set these activities up daily and you start doing them every single day religiously, you will start seeing results. You will start moving towards 45 households a month, and it will start pointing out holes in your sales process, holes in your marketing process, holes in your office organization that you can start to then fix and plug that a lot of times we don't know exist. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm super excited to hear from some of you, you know, how these that do the 30-day challenge, how that takes place, and you know what it is that you get results wise from this. So definitely reach out to me and let me know that. I do have a special offer for you that I want to just throw out, that is I think something that's going to be hugely beneficial for you guys, and that is all of you. We only marketed this webinar and only announced it to the Insurance Hustle group. So all of you guys are in the Insurance Hustle Facebook group. Hopefully you're getting value from that. We want to take that to the next level and offer the Insurance Hustle Inner Circle. And what that inner circle is going to look like is you're going to get some business education. So an ever-growing library of sales and marketing strategies to help build your agency, brand, and book of business. So there's a ton of pre-recorded content, masterminds we've done, other webinars we've done that you can rewatch. Just a huge amount of education for you guys on ways to scale your business, everything from marketing to sales to ROI to branding, all the stuff that you could use to build your business. We're also going to have weekly coaching calls, so weekly mastermind calls where you are going to be able to jump in and request specific coaching, specific questions. We're going to go over topics, all of that kind of stuff. So a weekly mastermind call that really is going to be, kind of that ongoing next step for you. And then a community. You guys are already in the Insurance Hustle group. We're going to be creating an Insurance Hustle Inner Circle group where there's going to be even more information for you. So downloads, sales scripts, special webinars and videos, all of that kind of stuff that's going to be available to you in that Inner Circle community and group on Facebook. And so you can go to insurancehustle.com/inner circle, and you can see the link right there. And it's normally going to be $99 a month. For being a part of this webinar and for being in the Insurance Hustle group already, we are going to have a discounted rate where you can sign up now for $29 a month. We do have a discount code with that once that discount code is gone, we won't be able to use it anymore. That discount code is IC29, which will take it from $99 to $29 a month for you. That is a limited time offer, and so once we've fulfilled that and the discount code is gone, it's gone. But it is going to be available to you for $29 a month. You can contact us if you have any questions about any of this. You can go to insurancehustle.com/inner circle. You can obviously always comment or ask questions in the Facebook group. You can email me directly at doug@surefiredigitalmedia.com. And I'm also going to be sending you guys an email with the slide deck of this presentation and a link to the replay, so you can always go back to it. But again, insurance-hustle.com/inner circle is going to be that next step for you to really be able to take your agency to the next level with ongoing coaching and resources. So again, I appreciate you guys being on here with us. Thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to hearing the results that you have gotten.